welcome to Infodumpies. My name's Brianne. My pronouns are she, her. I'm autistic. I have AuDHD. And I believe that Smokey the Bear and McGruff the Crime Dog are secret lovers.
Hi, I'm Violet. My pronouns are she, her. I have ADHD. And I really think that you should leave this podcast better than you found it.
She's not telling you to leave the podcast, just when you do at the end of the episode. So don't turn it off.
Yeah. Just leave it running. Like, play it a few extra times. Just really leave it better than you found it. Make sure it's clean. Don't leave any beer cans laying around,
Don't move any rocks in the middle of the trail.
Yeah, and don't make like piles of rocks for your Instagram pictures. It's not cool to do that. Please don't do that.
Yeah, just leave the podcast better than you found it.
Exactly. The reason I talk about that, the preservation of things, conservation, is because today's Infodumpies is about forestry mascots. And you might be thinking to yourself, forestry mascots, like, I mean, how big of a topic could that be? Is Smokey the Bear? Maybe you've heard of Woodsy Owl, right? You've heard of, I've told you about Woodsy Owl, I think, right?
I only know about Woodsy Owl because you told me. I know there's that lightning bug who told me about electricity.
Yep, and that's not one of the ones we're going to cover today, but that is in the realm of mascots.
I think I've expended, with that and McGruff the Crime Dog and Smokey, I think I've expended my knowledge of that.
Okay.
Beyond what you have told me, apart from what you have told me.
My knowledge of mascots is pretty vast. I've always been like a fan of mascots. I like mascots and like the concept of putting a character to a concept, right? And
so mascots in general, not just forestry ones.
I like mascots in general, but forestry mascots have a special place in my heart. Particularly because they have a tendency to be very campy. Sorry, that was terrible. I'm not leaving this podcast better than I found it right now. I'm sorry. This is a terrible joke. But anyway, I really like forestry mascots because they come from the early days of like Americana style mascots. The original mascots were something very different, and actually our understanding of brand mascots goes back all the way to 1898. The oldest mascot we know of, and you know him, also everyone listening to this almost certainly knows him, is Bibendum. Everyone knows Bibendum, right? You love.
I think he did my hair once before prom in high school.
Yeah, classic Bibendum, honestly.
Yeah, I went to the mall.
Yeah, Bibendum works at your mall, the one that you go to, whichever one that is.
Works at the Macy's in Mesquite, Texas that I went to.
Yeah. So I'm going to describe Bibendum to you, and I'm going to let me know if you can figure out who I'm talking about. I think, Brianne, you already know who I'm talking about just from background context, but for the listener.
Y'all, she's so excited about this. We were about to record and getting set up. And she was like, hold on. I'm a bust if I don't tell you about this. And I'm like, save it for the episode.
I have so much I want to tell you all about forestry mascots and just mascots in general. I might even do a separate episode just on the original brand mascot that we know of as Bibendum, or more commonly, by a different name. But let me describe what they look like, and let me know if you can figure out who I'm talking about here. The original Bibendum was an intimidating, oversized, mummy-like figure, 32 tires tall, and copyrighted smoking a cigar. He also was copyrighted holding a golden goblet full of nails and spikes and like hardware hazards, broken glass, and the like. And of course, I'm talking about the Michelin Man. Who else? The Michelin Man.
It sounded like you're talking about my gunkle at Thanksgiving.
Honestly, yeah, no, that would check out. But yeah, the Michelin Man, named originally Bibendum from the Latin phrase "now is the time to drink." The Michelin Man was born from the vision of André and Edouard Michelin, who came across a large stack of tires that they felt resembled an armless man. Now, the Michelin brothers, you may know them now as the Michelin Tire Company. They are the ones who started that in before 1898. They'd already had a well-established tire company. The prominency of this figure really just blew up. And I could go into a whole episode about it, but in short, they saw this stack of tires and they were like, let's make a character after this anthropomorphic looking stack of tires. And they named him Bibendum. Originally his name he didn't have a name originally, because they were like, do we name mascots? They didn't even know. They didn't even have like a concept of giving him a name. But
Tire Man.
Right, Tire Man. In 1894, one of Michelin's race competitors, Leon Thery, I am not great at French accents, but there's an accent on both of the E's in Leon and Thery. Not being well versed in Latin, tried to use the catchphrase that they had set up, Nunc est bibendum, which is Latin for now it's time to drink. They were calling out Andre Michelin at the starting line, and said, "Voilà bibendum, vive bibendum." And they were like trying to make fun of their slogan essentially. And so they named their character Bibendum after the original slogan that they had, that the person was trying to make fun of them with. So yeah, essentially it is them taking something someone was trying to mock them for.
That sounds like a sibling fight. I don't have siblings.
It really does.
I don't have siblings, but from what I've heard from people, that sounds like a very sibling thing to do. So they named him Bibendum.
They named him Bibendum.
When did they unname him Bibendum?
They didn't, is the thing. That's the weird part. His name is still officially Bibendum. But everyone just refers to him as the Michelin Man, because it's easier to remember than Bibendum.
I guess. I feel like I would have remembered that if someone told me.
So that's the weird thing. Just colloquially, everyone just refers to him as the Michelin Man. And if you like go to Michelin's website, they have a page on Bibendum, which is
weird.
Like, yeah. No, I looked it up. It's got to be in the notes and everything.
Poor Bibendum. He's like, I'm more than my job.
Right,
I'm not just the Michelin Man.
That would be if everyone referred to me as... Exactly. That would be like if everyone referred to me as the IT lady, which is like, that's so demeaning.
I'm okay if people call me podcast bitch.
Yeah. Yeah, we're podcast bitches. But this episode is not about Bibendum. I could do a whole episode about Bibendum, and we might at some point. This episode is specifically about forestry mascots. And obviously, there are more mascots nowadays than one could ever cover in a single episode of Infodumpies. So to narrow the scope of the episode, we're only going to be talking about National American outdoors and nature mascots.
Okay.
Not limited to government mascots. So any National American outdoors and nature mascot. That may seem extremely limiting, but there's still a lot. And we're starting with the one that everyone knows and that you already mentioned, Smokey the Bear. Do you know what year Smokey the Bear came out? Or rather, when he was released. I don't know when he came out as gay.
I was going to say, he came out in 2002. He was Smokey the Bear's first appearance, at least 7.
At least 7. That's a good answer. Yeah. And it's really close. The actual answer is 1944. A lot of people don't realize how old Smokey is, but he's an old man now. And the original Smokey, and you'll see pictures of this in the notes if you're on our Patreon, was an adorable little bear with some like loose little trouser shorts and a ranger hat. And he's just kind of leaning over with a little grumpy face, like looking at it, like giving a bombastic side eye.
When you showed him to me, he looks like he would hang out with Frog and Toad.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
He would be like best friends with Frog and Toad. And like, he's got this bombastic side eye looking over like, oh, you didn't put your fucking fire out, bro.
And
he's got a little bucket. Yeah. And he looks so grumpy, like, oh, put your friggin' fire out. And that is not the version of Smokey we know today. This one looks small and adorable and cute. The Smokey we know today is essentially an anthropomorphic, like, man bear, with man hands. That's the thing that I don't like about Smokey, is that he has distinctly fur-covered man hands, not bear hands. And the original Smokey had bear hands, and they gave Smokey's bear hands man hands, and I don't like how they handled that. Anyway. The original poster for Smokey did not say only you can prevent forest fires. That came much, much later. Or not much, much later, really. 3 years later. In 1947, that's when his slogan became only you can prevent forest fires. But originally, his slogan was, care will prevent 9 out of 10 woods fires.
That is
Doesn't exactly roll off the tongue.
woods fires.
Care will prevent 9 out of 10 woods fires. Like, what are you, the fucking, like, wizard of forests? Like, jeez.
That's a different mascot that I'm going to make.
Oh, God, that would be so good. The forest wizard.
Yeah.
Ah! Oh, my God. Yeah, we need to make that happen. He also had another slogan, like, proposed that was not as used, which was, Smokey says, "Hold till it's cold, prevent forest fires." And it's depicted alongside a diagram of Smokey with a little stick pointing at, like, a diagram of someone snuffing out a match. Hold till it's cold. So, yeah.
Oh,
this is when everyone is using matches.
That is so nondescript to me, too. Like, I don't know if it's
Right?
the autism, like, I hold the match.
Yeah. Apparently, the idea was that most people at the time, when they were lighting their cigarettes with their matches, were putting their fingers on it to, like, snuff it out, and you're supposed to hold it until it's cold, is what the Forest Service
That's hot.
said.
Why would I touch it? I always, if I'm using matches, I make sure it gets wet before I throw it out.
That's the better thing to do. However, there are some cases where, and this is something I learned in Scouts. I was in the Scouts, and that's where I learned about forestry mascots to such an extent. There are some cases where you can dump water on a fire and have it not go out. And that's if you have some very, like, superheated coals and embers and stuff that can actually boil away the water before it has a chance to smother the flame.
I'm just thinking about a
which is
single
why,
match in general.
But yeah, it's a whole thing. It's not a very good slogan. Smokey the Bear was born on August 9th, 1944. And it was a joint effort. The U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council, they both agreed that a fictional bear would be the symbol for their joint effort to promote forest fire prevention. The original artist, Albert, and I apologize, I'm going to butcher this name, Staehle, Staley, was
If as long as you
to
say
paint
it in
first
that
poster
voice,
of
it's
Smokey Bear.
very good.
Staley. But yeah, Smokey Bear became extremely popular as soon as he appeared. Everyone was just absolutely wild about this guy. And a couple fun facts about Smokey the Bear that I am almost certain you do not know. Disney loaned Bambi, the Disney character, to the Ad Council for 1 year for their fire prevention effort prior to Smokey Bear being created.
Interesting.
So, technically, the year before Smokey was born, Bambi was the forest fire mascot.
Interesting.
Yeah. Also, it is very distinctly not Smokey the Bear. It is Smokey Bear. And the reason that gets messed up so often as Smokey the Bear is Smokey Bear, and I almost have a hard time saying it that way. Smokey Bear has a song, which is amazing. A lot of forestry mascots especially have songs, which is part of why I love them so much. Because they make those to help kids remember what the rules are for helping the forest be safe. The was added when the songwriters penned Smokey's tune, sung by Eddie Arnold, and it helped with the rhythm of the song.
Featuring Nicki Minaj.
Featuring Nicki Minaj, exactly. And this is from the U.S. Forestry Service website. It's the quote, "It's the only time Smokey Bear ever has a middle name." His middle name is The.
Like Megan.
Like
Megan
exactly.
the Stallion.
Megan the Stallion, Smokey the Bear. Exactly the same thing. Smokey the Stallion. But
honestly, get me interested in forestry mascots by having a crossover where Megan the Stallion comes to show you how to put out a forest fire correctly. I mean, put out a campfire.
Yeah, by twerking on it.
Put out a campfire correctly. Yeah. All of the dudes who are upset about her being in She-Hulk, I would love to upset them all over again by having her teach us about forest safety.
Absolutely. I'm 100% on that. And hey, if you're listening, you should go listen to Smokey's tune by Eddie Arnold. It's on YouTube. It's free.
Featuring Nicki Minaj.
It is very cute.
It is very cute.
Featuring Nicki Minaj. It is very cute. The chorus essentially is Smokey the Bear, prowling and a growling and a sniff in the air. He can find a fire before it starts to flame. That's why they call him Smokey. That's how he got his name, which is so cute. It's adorable. Eddie Arnold can sing it way better than I can. He's got a ranger's hat and shovel and a pair of dungarees. And you'll find him in the forest, always sniffing at the breeze. So Please go listen to that song. It's amazing. What if I told you that in the same year that Smokey came out, a different company came out with their own forestry mascot that was not the U.S. Forest Service?
Who?
And you don't know who this is.
What company would be like, we need a forest mascot?
American Forest Product Industries.
I have no idea what that is.
They sell wood.
Oh, okay.
They sell wood for all it and whatever you're gonna do it for. They sell wood. And in 1944, the very same year as Smokey Bear's debut, although I could not find a source on the day that Woody was announced, although it appears that technically Woody may have been first. I can't confirm that though. Yeah. Sorry, I should say this is Woody the log, the anthropomorphic log. Kids
love logs.
A log. Kids love logs.
It's log.
Yeah. Yeah. So in 1944, they released Log, or more specifically, Woody, a smiling animated log, who initially served as a symbol for forestry and good forest management. And their motivation for doing this was to prevent forest fires, because obviously, if the forests they're using to grow and sell wood burn down, that's bad for them.
Fuck the animals. You're getting in the way of our sweet profits.
Exactly.
I don't give a shit about
that's
nature.
Kind of the vibe.
I don't give a shit about nature. I need this to make toilet paper.
Yeah. Yeah. As far as I can tell, Woody is like pro-capitalism, pro-war. He is like Smokey's villain. Yeah. Yeah. And so the reason I say that is because... well, hear me out here, right? So Woody, one of his slogans is wood has a job in peace as in war. Yeah, or also sometimes said as Woody in the war, but Woody's ready for peace too.
What?
It's very rough. It's 1944. They don't know how to do this yet. Woody is like an like if you stuck like a boomer's face on a log and gave him that personality, basically. There's a slogan, like a poster that's depicted of like Woody standing there, like looking like, what the fuck? With a forest burning in the background. And he looks angry and he says, "You burn me up." And this is going to be linked in the notes as well. Yeah. There's a Woody costume that was made, which is haunting. It's like they tried to make the 2D character into like a 3D character, but without changing anything. And he has a fucking two-handed axe. Yeah, he walks around with an actual, not prop, two-handed axe. And in 1953, there was another costume made that is worse. It's bad. There's other bad slogans for Woody. Don't give Woody a hot foot.
What? What is a hot foot?
Don't give Woody a hot foot, which shows what looks to be either a cat or an armadillo lighting
either a cat or an armadillo. The art's that bad?
Bruh, it's real bad. Here, can I know the audience can't see, but can I send this to you real quick through our messenger app that we are using currently?
Oh, yes.
I'm going to send you that. So you see what I mean. Not sure what the creature is, but either way, it's lighting a match that is between Woody's toe for some reason, and Woody's like stumbling out of a chair. Yeah, it's...
Oh my god. Okay, she said armadillo or cat, but I kind of wonder if this is just a demon? It has cloven...
an imp?
It has cloven feet.
Oh my god.
Its feet are...
Oh my god, I think it is. I think it's a little imp.
I think it's a little, like, demonic imp. It has cloven feet and little backwards knees like a goat. And it's got sort of a scalloped ass and a long tail and human teeth, like a human face and long ears. I think this is...
But enough about me.
I think this is a demon.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's a little demon guy. Woody is not it. Like, I had to mention Woody because he came out literally the same year as Smokey.
In 2003, he came out.
Yeah, he came out, and he's like one of those like pick me gays that's like trying to get in with the straight people all the time. Yes, like that's the vibe. But yeah, like there's one of the Woody's posters is time for action. It's like Woody leading a protest meeting with all the forest creatures to protest like being bad at forest. It's wild. His slogan eventually kind of developed into "Do your part, be careful with fire," which is like, all right, I guess.
That's so vague.
There is something, yeah. There is something that I think is a little fun though. He had a poster at one point talking about different like forestry like slang terms. For example, this is Woody's quiz. What is a widowmaker in loggers lingo? You might be able to get this one. The others I don't think so.
What is a widowmaker in loggers lingo?
What is yeah. If you're a person who chopped down tree for living, what would you call a widowmaker?
I don't know, because I'm thinking medically, like the type of heart attack.
Honestly, you're barking up the right tree with that one. There's going to be a lot of puns. I'm sorry. So in loggers lingo, limbs that may fall on woods workers as they're cutting down a tree are referred to as widowmakers for their propensity to fall and kill woodsmen, essentially.
And why do children need to know this via a pro-war mascot?
I don't know. Do you know what a wolf tree is?
A very hairy tree.
In loggers lingo, a wolf tree is limby and of low value. It takes up a lot of space where better quality trees could be growing.
Again, I ask, why do children need to have this information delivered to them via a capitalist pro-war log?
Well, let me ask you this: what's a barber chair? In loggers, we're learning loggers lingo today. What's a barber's chair?
Tree you can sit on.
I mean, yeah, basically, it's a tree stump. A barber's chair is a stump with slivered wood sticking up from the edge of the undercut. So if you picture someone like Paul Bunyan chopping down a tree, right? They cut into the side with an axe, and then they cut into the other side with an axe, and then it falls over, and then the middle part kind of like snaps off like a broken toothpick, and it stick up. That's a barber chair, because it's like you got the flat part and then the part that stick up like the back of a chair. Right. I don't know why kids need to know this. And then there's one more. What's a cat face?
Is that when a tree hole make a face?
You are shockingly close.
Yeah, like when there's knots and holes in tree and it kind of look like a cat face.
Yeah. Well, yeah, essentially, yeah. So in loggers lingo, a cat face is a partly healed scar on the trunk of a tree. A cat face is usually caused by fire or injury to a tree.
Yeah.
So you got one.
Hey.
Yeah, good job.
Thanks. I know nothing about logging.
Apparently, now you do. You know a little bit now. But yeah, so we got more to talk about here. So let's keep on moving. So there are quite a few forestry mascots that I want to talk about. We've covered Smokey, we've covered Woody. Next, I would like to touch on a person known as Tim Burr, who again is like a logging mascot, and I'm gonna talk about him very briefly.
Tim Burr sounds like great. If someone wants to become a drag king.
Oh yeah, Tim Burr would be a great.
Tim Burr would be a beautiful drag king name.
Yeah, so I could kind of categorize a handful of these forestry mascots together as the buff dude forestry mascots.
Oh, and I wanted to make a joke that Woody Log, whenever he stopped being a mascot, went on to join the cast of Twin Peaks. Continue.
Absolutely, I love that.
But Tim Burr, tell me about the burly man category.
So, well, I say burly man. It's more of like just a dude as the mascot, right? So we got your Tim Burr, we've got your Turpentine, which are not even so much a mascot, more as like an educational like figure. Turpentine were characters in a cartoon to educate people on what turpentine is and why it's better than other things. Yeah, they're not even going to get an honorable mention here. There's Rusty Scrap Iron, which is a fucking amazing name.
That's a good robot name.
Yeah, Rusty Scrap Iron, right? But yeah, so Rusty Scrap Iron is essentially just a really buff dude. He's like the best ranger. And he was just like a mascot for Rangers being cool and like, yeah.
They don't need a
and then you
mascot
have
for that. Rangers are really fucking cool. I don't think you need
Yeah,
to.
Rangers are
I don't
fucking
think
cool.
you need to sell me on how cool forest rangers are.
Oh,
It's a
yeah.
very
No,
cool and
absolutely,
sexy job. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, but there's a ton of these mascots that are just buff dudes with forest related names. Um, like there's one more, Abel Woodman, Abel Woodman.
That sounds like a good porn
and
name.
he's basically, really, honestly, yeah, all of these do. If you picture this, Popeye the Sailor Man, Paul Bunyan, squimsh them together, you are spot on. Whatever you're picturing, that's it. I'm going to send you a picture and you will know precisely what I mean. And again, this is also going to be in the notes. All of this is. I don't want to leave y'all hanging on these pics. And hey, props to the website foresthistory.org.
He really does just look like you squinched them both together.
Yeah, he really does. Yeah, it like this was the poster that they said like sent out for people to like give me a name basically. And people ended up on Abel Woodman. The website foresthistory.org has a ton of information about forestry history in general, and they have a really fun series where I got a lot of information for this episode called The Forgotten Characters from Forest History. So shout out to them. This episode is a lot of information came from them. But yeah, we also have Tim Burr, who's like kind of a dopey little woodsman guy who's supposed to be like a what not to do kind of character in terms of woodsman stuff. So Tim Burr, most of his stuff is like little 2-panel comics that are meant to be educational. For example, there's one where he's dealing with freshly cut wood planks without gloves. He gets a splinter, and then it shows him injuring himself trying to get the splinter out with a knife.
Oh my god.
Which is like, yeah, it's not great. It's not bloody or anything, but it's rough. There's one where he's like walking into like a chemical treating area at a wood plant or whatever the fuck you call it. And he goes, "Uh-oh, where's my gas mask?" And then he falls onto the ground and starts hallucinating that he's seeing some kind of weird alien monkey creature.
Okay, cool. Naturally.
Just starts tripping balls.
Naturally.
Yeah, and honestly, all of these are like a cross between funny and horrifying in a really interesting way. I recommend you look up Tim Burr.
Oh my god, she sent me the Tim Burr one. He's getting high off fumes. He's snorting fumes.
Yeah, he's fucking high.
And then he's seeing some, I guess he's looking into the dark mirror, seeing his shadow self as a horrifying nude ape-like Salvador Dali creature.
Absolutely, yeah. Oh, and you know what? Actually, I apologize. I've just now realized these are not 2-panel comics. I was only seeing the first 2 panels of the comics. They actually go on a little bit further. Let me send the rest of that one. I apologize. But yeah, I highly recommend checking these out. The rest of the... Oh my god. Jesus Christ. I just saw one that's... your planer needs some adjustments, Tim. You'd better shut it down and fix it. And Tim Burr goes, "Why shut down a machine to make a few adjustments?" And then he gets sucked into the planer and like
Final Destination.
Yeah, like the panel is him being crushed by the planer and him screaming, "Whoops, help!" The last panel is him at the doctor saying, "You were lucky, Tim. That planer only cut your height down 10 inches." But yeah, there's also Herman I Cautious. Who was less of a forestry, but also like a lumber worker mascot whose slogan was "Caution pays you." He was sort of the classic 1950s sort of like, if you picture like Fred Flintstone style character. And he was basically just saying, not having to go to the doctor saves you money. But enough about these dude mascots. I want to talk about a lady mascot, specifically Paula Bunyan, Paul Bunyan's daughter. She's a little cutie, and I love her. And her whole thing was basically like, hey, my dad, Paul Bunyan, used to be like a symbol of forestry, but he would also do dangerous things sometimes as like an example of what not to do. I don't want to do that anymore. And so she had like an acronym for her slogan. It was SURE, which is size up the situation, use your safety instructions, remember to protect fellow workers and forest users, and establish a margin for safety.
I like her.
Not great.
Okay, but listen, that tells me more than any of the other ones have. She's breaking generational cycles.
Yeah.
She's working on herself. She's not going to carry her parents' mistakes. And
Exactly.
her acronym sounds extremely sensible.
When Paula was introduced, which I could not find a consistent year for when she was introduced, but either way, she is the daughter of Paul Bunyan, the legendary swashbuckling and sometimes unsafe Northwoods hero. And her description is, being a woman, Paula knew how to get her message across to her father and converted him to a safety-conscious individual without impairing his tremendous production. This spread his fame all the more. We feel the modern-day forester is susceptible to the wiles of such a safety symbol. Hence, Paula, with her sure way to safety. And I sent Brianne a picture. She's really cute. I like. She's adorable.
Oh my god, she's
honestly.
so cute.
So
she's
cute.
got a little
Yeah,
she's got a little
so
hard
cute.
hat with her name on it. She's got like a little
Right?
flipped out bob haircut. She's got a cute little dress that looks like it's Christmas time at the Germany section of Epcot at Disney World.
She got little poofy sleeves.
She's got little poofy sleeves, a little corseted top to her dress that has little trees on it. I adore her, and she's got little freckles.
Yeah.
She's so cute.
So cute. I really think they ought to bring her back. She's adorable, like fashion icon. And hey, American Forest Association or whatever the fuck you are now. They've changed names a few times, I think. Make a dress. Sell this dress. It's cute.
It's very
cute. You would
cute.
buy it.
I would buy it for Violet.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to wear this forestry dress. It'll be cute. So enough with these human mascots that we had this section about. I want to talk about some other ones that are a little bit cooler. Joe Beaver. So there's... Okay. Let me back up a second. There's a lot of animal mascots, as you might imagine. And I'm going to mention some of them, like some names. There's Joe Beaver, who's like just a beaver, doesn't have a slogan really, just like depicted in a lot of comics and stuff like that. There's Benny Beaver, who is a bucket brigade beaver. So he's got like little overalls and gloves and a bucket, and he's cuter. I like Benny better. He's pretty good. I like him quite a bit. Even better, we've got Howdy Raccoon. Howdy Raccoon is one of my personal favorites. I'm a big fan. He's just a cute little guy. So he's a standing up raccoon. He's got a little ranger hat just like Smokey does, but he's wearing a big old flannel that covers his tummy. Yeah, and he's got a little belly. And he's just very cute. And his slogan is "Have good outdoor manners." And he's just a delightful
adorable.
Little fellow.
That's adorable.
Yeah, he's great. He's really, really good. And I sent Brianne a picture of him just now. And so, oh my god, I'm coming to a problem here where I don't know why. I love forestry mascots so much. When I start talking about them, I get like teary-eyed because I love them so much.
Oh my god,
and,
Howdy!
Like, looking at Howdy Raccoon.
Howdy!
Howdy is so cute. I'm like about to cry because I just love looking at this little guy.
She is.
I want to get like yeah, I'm literally tearing up right now. But I love him. He's such a good little guy. He just puts out signs. He has another slogan, put out, pick up, protect, thank you. And he's just got a big old happy smile and a big old tummy, and I love him.
He's real cute.
So, like, mad props. Howdy was more popular and introduced mostly in California. I believe he came out in like the 60s and 70s. And there are a lot of people to this day who are big fans of Howdy Raccoon still. And then we also have some like weirder characters. I said I wouldn't mention humans again. I forgot to mention there are a couple of characters called Sniff and Snuff, who are, again, California Bucket Brigade mascots. It's a whole thing. I would look them up. But I want to talk about motherfucking Spunky Squirrel.
Y'all, she was so excited about Spunky Squirrel. We were 2 minutes away from recording. She was trying to show me pictures of him. Please, you've been so patient about Spunky Squirrel. I heard her like laughing and sound like she was about to start crying from the other room, and I was like, what did she... Oh, she's looking at a picture of this squirrel.
Yep, exactly. So Spunky Squirrel is a little squirrel, like relatively realistic squirrel, but with like cartoon legs and feet, basically. He's got little basketball shorts, and he got little tennis shoes, and he's got a baseball cap with his name on it that's way too big for his head.
He had too big for
Way
his
too
goddamn
big
head.
for his head. And one of my favorite holidays is January 21st, which is Squirrel Appreciation Day, as everyone knows. On the history of Spunky Squirrel, it was really funny. He was fairly short-lived. I don't know why. I think he was really cool. Let me give you the description that they gave to the artist for Spunky Squirrel, and then let me tell you what they got. So Rudy is the name of the artist. Rudy Wendelin. Rudy, I need a young, dynamic city squirrel. It will be the symbol. It will be. Sorry. Yeah, I need a young, dynamic city squirrel. It will be the symbol for our urban forestry program. We'd like our character dressed in regular, quote, blue jeans, end quote.
American denim blue jeans.
Yeah, American denim blue jeans. Young looking, maybe a t-shirt with AFA, American Forestry Association, on the front, and a hat that resembles an acorn cap. At least that's been suggested. And Adidas running, quote, tennis shoes, end quote. Name, Spunky Squirrel. Sincerely, Hank. Hank de Bruin from the American Forestry Association. And let me send Brianne a picture of what they got first, which is not what they asked for. Rudy's initial try is a squirrel wearing... So that is what they ended up with, what you're just looking at now, Brianne.
He's
and then
so
this is
cute.
the first...
His shorts
cute.
are way too big. His shoes are way too big. His hat's enormous.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this first take.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the first take is he's a little squirrel. He's got anthropomorphized legs and feet again. He's wearing overalls and a little flannel. He's got a properly fitting acorn-shaped baseball cap. He's got a little camera hung around his neck. He's got a walking stick. He's got some sensible boots for foresting, and his beautiful little tail's poking out. He's adorable. He still has like a realistic squirrel face, and it's just great. However, the note that he got on this one is okay if we needed a grandpa squirrel. We don't at this time. And again, this is in the notes as well, but they ended up going with a more modern take, which was the baseball cap, basketball shorts, Adidas tennis shoes. And that was pretty popular. There is still to this day Spunky Squirrel merch that you can actually find online that went around in the 80s. He was a big thing there. And in addition to animal mascots, we've had an anthropomorphic log. We've had a bunch of animals. We've had some humans. There are quite a few mascots that are just trees. Specifically, we have Sam Spruce Tree, who was not super well received. Just not very popular, more like. But it was just a weird kind of looking tree, kind of goofy looking.
It's like if part of my last name was Human also. Like Brianne Leeson Human.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing that I think really made Sam unpopular, Sam Spruce Tree, is... this is really weird. Bear with me. He wants to be chopped down.
Oh, chop me down. Chop me down so bad. Mommy, chop me.
There is a picture that is captioned, Sam sheds tears of joy when he finds out that he's been, quote, scheduled for a ride.
Scheduled for a ride?
Yeah. And there's a picture of a forestryman holding a chainsaw. What the fuck?
Why is he talking scheduled for a ride? That sounds like he's about to get
I don't
fucked.
know. It sounds like he's about to get fucking murdered is what it sounds like.
Well, the chainsaw does,
and also,
but if
like
I said, I'll see you later, I'm scheduled for a ride, if you know what I mean. That sounds like a sex appointment.
So I was thinking of it as like, oh, we're gonna take Lenny out back. He's scheduled for a ride. Oh, where you taking him to? He's scheduled for a ride. Don't ask. You know, that sounds like you're gonna be taking somebody out behind the woodshed. Hey, it's fucking bad and dark. Sam Spruce Tree.
Okay, but I hear this. I think millennials would love him.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah, if he came out for our generation.
Okay, but you say that, but then let me send you a picture, and you're gonna see why. Maybe that's not it. You should look up Sam Spruce Tree at home here. This is kind of a follow along episode.
Oh my god, this tree.
He's just weird
And then
and janky
the way that
looking.
he's drawn, he is just an isosceles triangle made to look somewhat organic with some wood grain lines. Enormous eyes with no
Right.
eyelids. He looks like he's tweaked out of his noggin. And his mouth is
Yeah.
melting. And he has two lower
Yeah.
branches up where human temples would be on his face that I guess are his arms. And it says, my autobiography, sort of. I don't know what the sort of means.
Yeah, I don't know either, honestly. I was having trouble finding information on that as well.
But he's a
there's
mascot
so
for
many.
Consolidated Papers, so he does want to get chopped down
Right.
for capitalism.
Exactly. That's the problem, is that he's horny for capitalism and getting murdered for capitalism. He just loves capitalism so much he wants to die for it. But there's another tree, believe it or not. Obviously, neither of us are around for the 1950s. But
Speak for yourself.
in the 50s, there... well, presumably neither of us were around in the 1950s that, we're willing to admit. In the 1950s, there was something that is loosely referred to as the War on Christmas Trees.
So not
And
the
that
war
is
on
when
Christmas.
Correct, the War on Christmas Trees. It's a different war. And the War on Christmas Trees was basically a marketing shtick that a bunch of marketing companies came up with to sell fake Christmas trees, plastic ones, right?
So this is like the chicken sandwich wars.
Basically, although it wasn't officially called a war until like modern day, basically, but it was essentially a big push to say, get a fake tree because Christmas trees are bad for the environment, to have them be chopped down and grown like they are.
But this delicious
which I'm not even sure.
This delicious plastic that's going to flake microplastics all over your home is completely problem free.
Yeah.
There's clearly a black and white choice here. Neither this one is completely good.
The mascot here is Everett, and it's EV''RETT, the Friendly Evergreen. And he is a mascot for the National Christmas Tree Growers Association. Oh wait, have I got this all backwards? And that I think I might have this backwards. It's a push against fake Christmas trees. Okay. Possibly. I might be wrong. Oh, I had this entirely backwards. Everett is against fake trees because of the harm that they do to the environment in terms of the pine-scented spray that people would often use, plastic needles and things like that. A whole bunch of stuff. In the 1950s, apparently, they were like spray painting trees and stuff like that. It was a whole thing. And Everett was attempted as a Christmas tree promotion aid. The thing about Everett that is most noteworthy is that Everett, the Friendly Evergreen, has a song. I haven't listened to it yet, just because there's so much content here. But there is a song. It's on YouTube. It's just called Everett, the Friendly Evergreen. But they made a song and like a whole bunch of stuff for talking about, get a real tree, basically. So yeah, there's tree mascots, but there's also I can't believe I've gone this whole time without talking about Woodsy Owl. I don't even need notes for Woodsy Owl. Woodsy Owl is an anthropomorphic owl, and Woodsy's whole thing is he is Smokey Bear's best friend. Woodsy Owl has a home in the big branch of a tree, and when he looks from left to right, town and forest, he can see. So yeah. So one of my Woodsy is my personal favorite forestry mascot. I love Woodsy Owl. I've thought about getting a tattoo of Woodsy Owl. I love this guy. He's a little owl. He's got little glasses and he's got a little hat. If you have not seen Woodsy Owl, please Google a picture of Woodsy Owl immediately, because he's a delightful little fellow. Woodsy Owl is probably the second most popular mascot behind Smokey Bear nowadays. But yeah, he's got like a little, I don't even know what you'd call it. Like, the Robin Hood hat that's like triangular with like a little feather. He's got that, right? He's got, well, I guess he doesn't have glasses technically. The way they depict his eyes often, it looks like he's kind of got glasses, but he's just got big old owl eyes. And there's a lot of like not great depictions of Woodsy that are like really janky and weird. I am like 100% canonical to the original like 70s, 80s depiction of Woodsy as like a little round nugget shaped owl. He's got little spiky feathers coming out from under his hat. He's got a little whistle. And his slogan is "Give a hoot, don't pollute." Like, so good. Like, you can't beat that. Give a hoot, don't pollute. Like, So whereas Smokey is all about preventing forest fires, Woodsy is all about basically just keeping the forest clean. He's anti-pollution owl. He is the anti-pollution owl, rather. And that is in his song. He is so cute. I love him so much. I could continue to speak on him. So there is a band called Kitsch Club, Kitsch, or something like Kitsch, like kitschy, Kitsch Club. And it's just two people. I really like them. They're great musicians. And they have a couple songs about Woodsy Owl because they are also Woodsy fans. One is their rendition of The Ballad of Woodsy Owl, which is Woodsy's song, which is amazing. I love it. I know all the words. They also have a song called Burn It Down, which is talking about how, and this is a weird thing and it applies to all forestry mascots. Whenever you have a national ad council related character and you make a costume for it, they don't want that costume getting in the hands of someone who is not federally affiliated for use of, things that might slander the name of good Woodsy Owl, for example. So according to the American Forestry Association and the National Ad Council, whenever a forestry mascot is retired, and Woodsy is unfortunately retired, but they fucking need to bring him back, you have to destroy beyond all recognition any costumes of Woodsy Owl or any other forestry mascot that is retired. So somewhere, someone took a whole bunch of Woodsy Owl costumes and threw them in a pile and lit them all on fire per National Forestry Association instructions.
Whoa. What a weird job.
Yeah. What a weird job. Hey, here's all these costumes of this anthropomorphic owl that a lot of people love.
I'm just imagining people
Burn
who were in the Woodsy mascot things walking up tearfully going, "Take it, I can't watch."
Right. And like the wording from the American Forest Association, which I will include here also, is you must destroy beyond all recognition any costumes pertaining to or of the retired character.
That is such intense wording.
You must destroy. Right? God, that is, yeah. No, I had to mention that because it's just so strange. But yeah, we're kind of coming to a close here. There's so many mascots that I could talk about. There's villains. There's the Fire Wolf, which is like a which is like a cartoon wolf who's like, I'm gonna go start fire.
I love
that sort of
thing. There's my favorite.
Yeah. And like he's honestly kind of cool. He like whispers into people's ears, telling them to go, nah, you don't need to put that fire out. It's fine. It'll go out on its own. He's the one.
I'm imagining some fire themed version of the Party Wolf from Adventure Time.
Honestly, like kind of not that far off. I just sent you a picture, but he's pretty cool looking. I'm not gonna lie. He's got he's a black wolf.
He's fucking cool.
And his fur is depicted as like wisps of fire, which is like it's fucking sick. I'm not gonna lie. But he came out from, I believe, the same people that did Woody the Log, which is like, hey, you went from a loss to a win here. I think there is another villain character that I would love to talk about here in a minute, but I do want to spend some more time on the Fire Wolf here. He's pretty cool. There's a lot of really interesting depictions of him, but he is very much like a cool villain that they did, and I think it was an interesting take this early on to he was based off the concept of the big bad wolf, right? I think it was interesting of them to kind of take from popular stories for a character for a villain. Speaking of villains, have you heard of the Guberif?
Excuse me?
The Guberif? The Guberif is like a bug sort of creature.
You're saying, okay, let me get clear what you're saying. It's Goober and then IFF at the end?
So it's Guberif. Guberif.
Guberif. That sounds like a demon name I pulled out of my butt for our other podcast.
Yeah, honestly, it really does. Guberif is such a weird name. In fact, basically, when the Guberif was first proposed, the first response that the artist got, or the designer got rather, was, "What the hell is a Guberif?" But they ended up going with it. The Guberif is a Keep Idaho Green Chamber of Commerce creation, basically. It's a smaller one, but I thought it was an interesting one because it was just so weird.
Guberif.
But his slogan is, "Don't be a Guberif." And the Guberif is a just weird, like, bug creature that is very irresponsible out in the woods, throwing lit matches out into the forest.
Smoking a cigarette, and he's got a fucking gun.
Yeah.
Y'all, he's got
a
little backpack, a fucking rifle, and he's smoking a cigarette. He looks zooted out of his mind.
Yeah. No, he's not great. And that picture is like only one depiction, but the original depiction of him, it's just looking like a Bug's Life ass character.
He does. He looks like he's from a Bug's Life. Okay, so this other one looks like he's from a Bug's Life. Again, looks zooted out of his noggin and is smoking a pipe.
So the thing that fucks me up about the Guberif is there was not a Guberif costume. There was a Guberif mask.
No.
Yeah, there's a mask of the Guberif, and the mask
of
yourself.
the Guberif sounds like an H.P. Lovecraft story I'm not familiar with. Oh no. Oh no.
It is so bad. It is horrible.
It looks like
beyond
an
words.
enormous paper mache mask, also zooted out of its noggin.
Yeah,
on someone's face, but their chin is sticking out from the bottom, right? Like,
yeah,
it goes over their face, but kind of not, and I can see a human ear.
Yeah, but
and then there's just like a bumper sticker on this person's chest, and they're wearing, this person is just wearing like a plaid button down, a very normal plaid button down with an enormous bumper sticker across their collarbone that says "Don't be a Guberif." And a woman is almost suggestively going, "Ooh, I like this mask," and touching,
just like stroking his lip,
stroking the Guberif's lip, which is maybe the most haunting part. She's like, "Oh, you want to come spend some time with me? Keep the mask on. Everything else goes." That is terrifying.
Right, exactly. That's the vibe. It's terrifying. It's horrible. So yeah, the Guberif sucks. Don't bring back the Guberif. There's a couple other characters that I want to mention. There's another, if you recall, what was his name that I mentioned? He was one of the human ones. Oh yeah, Herman I Cautious. Very similar character from another company called Cal Green, who basically his whole slogan was "Wildfires cost you money."
I mean, okay.
He just sucks. It's like, yeah, there's other things to be worried about, bro. But yeah, Cal Green, he just sucks. It's like if you mixed Wario and Waluigi together and then like made him vaguely like broken. I don't know how else to describe him. I just sent you a picture of Cal Green. Yeah, he's a California mascot. Obviously, there's a lot of California mascots.
Oh, good God.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think
why does he have
unable to find a distinct slogan.
A Hitler mustache?
Ooh, I wish I could tell you. I will say 1965 is when he came out, so
they would have known who he looks like.
Yeah, he does look like a broken Hitler, doesn't he?
Yes. God. Cal sucks.
Cal sucks so bad. And he's had two different slogans as far as I can tell. His original slogan was "Preach and practice wildfire prevention," which sucks.
Oh, great. He's evangelical.
His other slogan, which was featured on a bumper sticker apparently, is "Keep greener." What the fuck does that even mean? Come on, Cal. There is one more that I want to mention, which is not like, or like one more like obscure character here that I want to mention before I get in. I have an actual list of honorable mentions from like that don't fit into the categories here that I just thought were cool. There's one in particular that I want to mention, which is the messaging is not great. He is Johnny Horizon. He is a square-jawed loner from out west. Basically, he's another one of these, like, he's not a ranger, distinctly, as far as I can tell, anyway. But he's just, like, the Marlboro Man, basically, but, like, for forests.
He sounds like a character in an 80s movie who's like, "I'm Johnny Horizon. Only I can can save this ranch."
Exactly. It's not only you can prevent forest fires, it's only I can prevent forest fires.
Yeah,
I'm Johnny Horizon.
the square, she was not joking, square jaw, butt chin. Very, like,
Yeah.
There's not much detail on his face, but they've made sure they've given him very strong sort of smile lines, very thick brows, and a big old cowboy hat.
Now, people that grew up in the 70s may be familiar with him because he was actually pretty popular for a while. Like, they were just kind of like, yeah, this is our kind of guy. His slogan sucks so bad. And not from it's just doesn't roll off the tongue way. It steals from well-known lyrics, and it is factually incorrect. His slogan is, "This land is your land."
Oh, it is not.
Yeah. Hey, no, it ain't.
It is
not. Johnny. Hey, Johnny, we stole this land.
Yeah, he is very much like, I am from 1976 American propaganda.
Yeah. But yeah, in the 70s, they came out with stuff like Johnny Horizon environmental test kits to test for air and water pollution. There was like a Girl Scout crossover at one point, which is weird in my opinion. And essentially, Johnny Horizon was like, we want people, like a grown-up version of Smokey Bear, essentially. They're like, let's make him a grown-ass man. Here's a picture of him in some bell-bottoms that will also be in the notes. He was pretty popular in the 70s, so if you know somebody that grew up in the 70s, ask them if they know Johnny Horizon. They probably do. To wrap things up, I would like to touch on some honorable mentions. The Saguaro National Park here in the U.S., if you're familiar with the saguaro cactuses, there is a mascot that they have named Sunny Saguaro. I hope I'm saying that correctly, by the way. Yeah, who's just adorable. He's a little saguaro cactus. I'm going to pull up a picture to send to Brianne real quick. But they still have plushes and things available for him now. He's a current mascot. He's adorable. I love him.
I've been to that park, and I don't remember seeing Sunny. Yeah.
Really? I think, yeah, so at the park's like gift shop, he might be newer, actually. He may have been like a newer thing.
Oh my god.
But he's super cute. He got little flowers on his hands. He's got a little cowboy hat.
He kind of looked like a Pokemon.
He kind of looked like a Pokemon. But yeah, he's a little cactus that's got little tennis shoes on, and he's got little flower hands, and he's just so happy to be here. So big shout out to Sunny Saguaro. Not a national mascot, but again, I had to limit it somewhere, for time. There's a place called River Raisin National Battlefield Park. They have a fun little guy called Major Muskrat, which I think is funny, who is essentially like I think the Battlefield National Park is like a national park at a place that was like a Civil War site or something to that effect. But he's cute. He's just like a little forest ranger. I feel like he's I've never seen a muskrat forest ranger, like forest mascot before, or even a muskrat like mascot, but I think he's good. He's cute. I also want to give a shout out. I'm a big fan of so it's not a forestry thing. It's the National Park Trust Program. I'm not entirely sure what exactly that is. But they have a mascot called Buddy Bison, which I think is very cute. Big fan of Buddy Bison. Let me pull up a picture of him so I can get you a more proper description.
I think I know that bison.
Yeah, I'm giving kind of shout outs to ones that I think are like good, more recent ones. Buddy Bison's real cute. A lot of the plushies for him are really cute as well. And like getting plushies for national forestry mascots or national park mascots supports the national park. So like that's always nice too. But the main reason I like Buddy Bison is because his plushies are really cute, honestly. I think that's what did it for me. And then I got one more. I want to talk about the one of my personal non-American favorites, which is the Canadian, or specifically Alberta, Canada's wildfire and forest management mascot, Birdie Beaver. This motherfucker is adorable as shit. I love his ass. He's a little squat beaver. He's got a little puffed out flannel. He's got a little hat, and he's just so warm and welcomingly depicted. I love this guy. I'm gonna find a picture to send to Brianne.
I want to see. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but he was actually designed by Disney, which I think is really great. Great in the sense that, hey, if you're gonna get a mascot, get someone that knows how to make a fucking character.
He's so cute. He's so round.
He's so cute. He's so cute around, and his whole deal is he goes around finding potential forest fires, like campfires left unattended, and he slaps them with his little tail to put them out.
Oh my god, so cute.
Yeah, it's so good. Yeah, he's been around for a long time, actually. I think since like the 60s. Yeah, he's like 67 or 68 now. It's been a long time.
He looks great.
But he's been he's been Alberta's mascot for a long time, and like for a good reason. So big shout out, like, when you get it right, Alberta, and you done got it right. Exactly. One last thing that I want to mention. You mentioned, I believe, was it McGruff the crime dog that you mentioned? I can confirm, or well, not entirely. McGruff, I don't think is actually a cop. He is just a crime dog.
Yeah, so I actually
different.
Listened to Wonderful about this recently. I'm listening to Wonderful from basically the beginning. And McGruff the crime dog was more to make people take preventative measures in order to stop from calling the cops.
Right.
So he would tell people, like, hey, if you're going to be out of town, put your lights on timers. Make sure you don't leave your purse in the car. Make sure you don't do this. Just common sense stuff.
Exactly, yeah. He came out in 1980. He's from the National Crime Prevention Council. Take a bat at a crime. I'm sure if you're listening to this, you've probably heard that phrase somewhere before. I wasn't able to find a 100% distinct source, but I'm fairly certain he's not a cop. If he was a cop, I wouldn't be talking about him right now.
I don't think he's a cop.
I don't think he's a cop. So yeah,
just a normal guy in a trench coat.
Exactly, normal guy in a trench coat. Maybe could we do a part 2 at some point? Maybe I don't know.
I'm gonna be doing skincare ones until the end of time. So
okay, that's fair. Yeah, well, I'll look into a part 2. Maybe we'll see about that. But hey, thank you for listening. Thank you, Brianne, for being such an amazing co-host.
Yeah,
here.
and
I hope you learned a lot about forestry mascots.
I did, and hopefully all of our listeners can now take a dump. That's my slogan. I'm your new forestry mascot. Go take a dump on forest fires.
Yeah, I love that. Brianne's your new forestry mascot. I love that. Yeah, her slogan, as you heard, go take a dump on forest fires.
I would make a great
if you're an artist,
I would make a great animated character. I already look like a fucking cartoon in the first place, so.
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you for taking a dump on forest fires, Violet.
Yeah, thank you for letting me take a dump on forest fires.
Hello, it's me, and I'm doing the housekeeping section again. The usual, if you want to see what Violet and I are up to on the interwebs, you can check out the show details to see our social media handles and go see where you can get more of our nonsense apart from our twice-monthly Infodumpies. If you want to support the show, you can do so in many ways. The first of which is just telling friends about it. We don't take any paid sponsorships on our network, as a rule, and we also don't pay for ads. If there ever is like an ad spot on our show, it's because we have worked with someone whose work we appreciate and we just want to promote them, and there's no money changing hands. So we never want to feel like we're selling you something. And with that in mind, we rely entirely on listeners for our support. So if you can tell friends about it, tell that Discord server you're in, tell that subreddit, if you're in a subreddit about forestry mascots, I don't know, it probably exists. Just tell people about the show. That helps us get more listeners and get more support, and it's super helpful. You could also leave a review if you liked it. If you didn't, please don't. Please don't. But if you like the show and you kind of want to let people know why you liked it and just kind of let them know what the show is about, that helps us get new listeners. And if you are in a place where you can support us monetarily, you can become a patron of our Mixnomer Patreon. Mixnomer is the profit-sharing modeled production company we have for doing podcasts with the cast of our show Today's Lucky Winner. And basically anything we make together, we all get the same hourly rate. Essentially, it's just split depending on how much time we spend working on podcasts. So you get to support the actual artists who make the shows for Mixnomer. And any Mixnomer shows we do, all of the bonus material goes to one Patreon. So if you listen to one or you listen to any of the future ones we do, you get all the goodies for all of it, which includes, at $1 a month, joining a Discord server where you can hang out with us. We're going to be playing Jackbox games next. I did a body doubling session where I was working on writing and some folks just joined in to get some work done with me. It's really fun. And when you support us on Patreon, you can get a shout out on the show during the housekeeping section when you support us at certain levels, like our friends Randy Lovings, Rachel Rachelson, Sewing Seraph, B. Trossler, Kelly Brennan, Smriti Singh, Helen Clifford, M. Mosen, and Lucy. Yeah, and also just my occasional reminder that my day job is doing AuDHD peer support and coaching. So if you are a newly recognized AuDHDer, or if you've known for a while and you just need a fucking extra brain that has the same software as you to help you out with some stuff, make sure you check the show details for links to my site and stuff, because I do it all day and I love it, and I would love to help you with whatever you need help with. So until next time, I'll see ya.